The wind howled across the endless dunes, carrying grains of golden sand that shimmered like lost stars beneath the burning sun. Somewhere between the vast silence and the whisper of eternity, a boy walked barefoot, his small frame bending against the desert wind. His name was Amir, and he was chasing something most people had long stopped believing in: dreams. Amir was 13, the son of a poor camel herder who lived on the edge of a forgotten village in the middle of nowhere. Their home was a small clay hut, cracked from years of sun and silence. Every morning, Amir woke before dawn to help his father lead the camels to the well. The water was bitter, the journey endless, and the pay, almost nothing. But Amir's heart was full of something the desert could never dry out: hope. Every night, when the stars painted the sky in silver dust, Amir would lie on the sand and look up. One day, he whispered, "I'll build something big. Something that will make people remember my name." His father would smile gently at the boy's wild dreams. "The desert eats dreamers, Amir," he'd say. "It's better to live with what you have." But Amir's soul burned brighter than the sun. The boy who believed in mirages. One afternoon, as he wandered farther than usual with the camels, Amir saw something glimmering in the distance, like a mirage but different. He ran toward it, heart pounding, until he reached an old man sitting beside a broken cart. The man's clothes were torn, his lips cracked from thirst, and his eyes tired but kind. Amir rushed to him. "Sir, are you okay? Do you need water?" The man nodded weakly. Amir took off his own small flask, the only water he had for the day, and pressed it to the stranger's lips. "Drink," he said softly. The old man drank, slowly, every drop. Then he smiled, a tired but knowing smile. "Why did you give me your water, boy? Don't you know how far the well is?" Amir shrugged. "Because you needed it more." The man's eyes glimmered. The desert always tests those who carry light in their hearts. Then, as if pulled by the wind, the old man reached into his cart and handed Amir a small, dusty book. "Take this," he whispered. "Dreams are not found in water or gold, they're found in here." And before Amir could ask what it was, the man vanished into the dunes, leaving only his footprints, and the book, behind. The Book of Dreams. That night, Amir opened the book under the dim glow of a lantern. It was filled with sketches, strange machines, windmills, wells, and notes written in an unfamiliar hand. The first page read, "Greater than, for the one who believes the impossible is possible." Amir didn't understand most of the designs, but he could feel their purpose. They were ideas. Machines to bring water from deep underground, to turn desert wind into power. He spent every night studying it, tracing the drawings with his finger, whispering to himself, "One day I'll build this." But life in the desert had no mercy for dreamers. His father fell ill one summer. The drought worsened. Work vanished. The villagers laughed at Amir when he told them he wanted to build a wind machine. "Go fetch water, not dreams," they jeered. "You think you can change the desert?" But Amir didn't stop. He collected scraps of metal from broken carts, old camel bells, and rusted blades. He built small models behind their hut, testing them against the wind. They broke 100 times. But every time they broke, Amir whispered, "I'll try again." The storm. One evening, as the sky burned red, a sandstorm swept through the desert. The wind screamed like 1,000 angry spirits. Amir and his father clung to each other inside the hut as the walls shook. When the storm finally passed, their home was gone. Buried beneath sand. Their camels had fled. Everything they owned was lost. His father sat in silence for hours, eyes hollow. "It's over, Amir," he said at last. "We have nothing left." But Amir stood, brushing the sand from his face. "We still have dreams, father." He picked up the broken remains of his little windmill, the one he'd built from scraps, and stared at it like it was gold. "The desert can bury everything," he whispered, "but not me." The journey. Amir decided to leave the village. He promised his father he'd return with something that could save them, not money, but hope. He carried the old book, a handful of dates, and his heart full of courage. For days, he walked under the sun, barefoot, blistered, hungry, but unbroken. He followed the wind like it was a compass. When he reached the city at the edge of the desert, his eyes widened. There were tall buildings, cars, lights, things he'd never seen before. He found work cleaning a mechanic's workshop. The owner, Mr. Kareem was a kind man with tired eyes and grease-stained hands. One day, as Amir swept the floor, he saw an engine on the table. It looked just like one of the drawings from his mysterious book. "Sir," Amir asked timidly, "what does that do?" Kareem smiled. "That's a turbine. It turns wind into power." Amir's heart raced. "Can it work in the desert?" Kareem laughed. "Only if you know how to build one." Amir grinned. "Then I'll learn." The dream takes shape. For the next 3 years, Amir worked tirelessly, cleaning, fixing, learning. Every night, after Kareem left, Amir stayed back, studying the machines, sketching designs in his book. He failed many times. He burned his hands. He broke parts. He cried when the metal refused to bend his way. But every failure made him stronger. Kareem watched silently as the boy grew into a young man, quiet, focused, and full of fire. One day, Kareem said, "You remind me of someone I once knew, a dreamer who believed he could change the desert." Amir froze. "Who?" Kareem smiled faintly. "An old inventor. He disappeared years ago, but before he left, he said he'd find someone worthy of his book." Amir's heart stopped. "His book?" Kareem nodded. "Yes. He called it the Book of Dreams." Amir pulled the dusty book from his bag. Kareem's eyes widened. "You found it," he whispered. "Then maybe, you are the one." The wind of hope. With Kareem's help, Amir began building a full-sized wind turbine, using recycled parts and desert steel. People mocked them, called them mad. "No one can tame the desert wind," they said. But Amir kept working, through heat, pain, and exhaustion. Finally, one dawn, after months of labor, the turbine stood tall against the rising sun. When the wind blew, the blades turned, slowly at first, then faster, until electricity sparked through the wires. A small bulb flickered to life. Amir stared, tears in his eyes. "It works," he whispered. For the first time in history, the desert had light. The return. Amir returned to his village years later, not as the poor herder's son, but as the boy who brought the wind. He installed turbines near the wells, bringing light and water to every home. Children studied under lamps at night. Farmers drew water without breaking their backs. The desert bloomed again. His father, now old and frail, watched with tears. "You did it, my son," he said. "You turned the wind into hope." Amir smiled softly. "No, father. I just believed in a dream long enough for it to believe in me." Epilogue. The whisper of the wind. Years later, travelers crossing the desert would sometimes hear a strange sound, the hum of turbines turning gently in the wind. And if they listened closely, they swore they could hear a boy's voice, whispering through the dunes. Greater than, dreams aren't lost in the desert. They're waiting for someone brave enough to find them. Moral. No dream is too small, no place too far, and no heart too poor to create change. Sometimes, the greatest miracles are born from the driest sands, and from those who refuse to stop believing. Sunrise.